Hello again. If you saw my video on the knuckleball from a few days ago, this video is for those of you who already can throw a pretty good knuckleball but aren't sure how to quite incorporate it into a game yet, or throw it in a normal pitch sequence. The first thing you've got to realize is you can't throw it in a game if you can't throw it for strikes, or at least somewhere near the strike zone. That's a big mistake a lot of people make. They can't locate it and they try to throw it in a game and it gets away from the catcher. They walk somebody gets an extra base because of it. And the next thing you have to do is decide whether you're going to be sort of like a Tim Wakefield pure knuckleballer and throw it, 80-90% of the time, or if you're going to be throwing it, in a normal repertoire, like with a fastball curve and change, or maybe even if you're just going to throw it every now and then, and it's going to be almost like your E-fish trick pitch, once, maybe twice a game. Again, it's not for everyone. If you're having trouble with it, just stick with your normal pitches if those are fine. Those can take you farther than a knuckleball will in most cases. The main thing you want to do for those of you who want to be more of a pure knuckleballer like Tim Wakefield, make sure, even though it's the same pitch and there's not a lot of pitch selection, if you just throw in a knuckleball all the time, you have to be able to mix speeds even with a knuckleball. I mean, if you look at R.A. Dickey in the major leagues, he throws his a little harder than most, which maybe isn't ideal for most conditions, but he mixes speeds, and that's how he got to the level that he's at. He can throw anywhere from the upper 60s to, I've heard he can get his fastest knuckleballs up to 80 miles an hour, which may not give a lot of time for it to move, but it is changing speeds, and that's going to throw the batter off balance if he sees that. As far as location goes with the knuckleball, you can't really get pinpoint location. That's understandable. Most pitches you can, knuckleball you can't. But one thing you've got to be able to do, however, is throw your knuckleball to zones: high, middle, or low. It takes a while to learn how to do. You probably want to keep most of them low, obviously, to prevent anybody from getting the ball to drop right into the plane of their swing. But the drop is the most important, because that's what's going to keep the ball off the plane of the bat. And if the pitch is low and it starts out middle or high, how are they going to hit that if they have a level swing and they're not uppercutting it severely? That'd have to be Tiger Woods to golf out a swing like that. So you want to keep it low for the most part, but every now and then you've got to mix the location, just like with any other pitch, and get the eye level sort of switching. So throw a few harder ones, maybe high and middle of the plate. Well, not middle of the plate, but belt high. Not everything can be just low, because they will catch on to that and be able to get an idea of where you're locating the pitch. Now, if you're going to try to mix it into a normal repertoire, you've got to make sure that you're not tipping off any of your pitches, and this certainly can limit the ability of you to throw that dancing knuckleball, because I know, especially for myself, I've had trouble trying to get fastball mechanics and knuckleball mechanics the exact same, so I'm not tipping them off. But you've got to learn how to do that. If somebody knows the knuckleball is coming and you toss up a spinner, that ball is going to be out of the park. It's not. You won't get away with a lot of those. And even if you're more of a pure knuckleballer, you got to have similar mechanics at least for your fastball, because otherwise you're going to realize you're not throwing your knuckleball and you're tipping off a non-knuckleball pitch, which is a big deal. Look at Tim Wakefield. If he tips off his fastball that's going 75 miles an hour, which that's not fast for a major league pitcher, what do you think is going to happen? Somebody can wait back on it, take a big cut, and hit it out of the ballpark. It's not... You've got to understand that the mechanics have to be at least somewhat similar in their appearance. Do they have to be exactly the same? I would say no. But at least, some sort of similarity between them. Nothing too drastic that would completely alter or completely tip off a pitch. Now, if you're going to just throw it every once in a while, like you don't feel confident in the mechanics or the knuckleball itself, what I would say you should do is, maybe you have more room to tip it off because they're not going to see it a whole lot. But maybe what you should do is throw it when they least expect it, like after a couple of fastballs, almost like a change-up count. You'll probably want to throw it when you're ahead in the count, because if it doesn't end up in the strike zone, you could be in trouble on a 2-0, 3-0 count. You'll get people on base, and extra people on base is the last thing you want. And that's sort of the difficulty that comes with the knuckleball, is it's hard to throw for strikes. And that's one of the things I can't stand, is seeing a whole bunch of walks, because that's giving up free base runners, which can turn into almost free runs. You can't be doing that. You got to make them earn it. The big problem with people who think they have a really good knuckleball is they'll go out there and throw it, and maybe they can toss it without spin, but they're not getting it fast enough that it's moving, or it's not moving at all. It's batting practice, and even if you are spinning it, if it's not moving or at least getting a big drop, it's going to be batting practice for almost every batter out there. You're not going to find yourself succeeding with the knuckleball. So as far as advanced stuff goes with the knuckleball, mix speeds as usual. Just like any other pitcher, somebody with a knuckleball is no different than a conventional pitcher. They have to mix speeds and location. They're not just some freak show. They're still a pitcher no matter what they throw. If they're throwing a knuckleball, they're a pitcher who throws knuckleballs. They're not some freak show that's out there on the mound. So that's the basics of incorporating the knuckleball into a game. And so just as a summary, mix speeds, mix location and eye level, and don't walk people. And good luck with your attempts in the knuckleball.